to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back. Always doing that feedback on that one. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here for the Pop Culture Cosmos. Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, and Game Source. Truly appreciate you checking all the great stuff that we do out. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend indeed. He is back after doing his version of Christmas Vacation, Holiday Road, Holiday Road, as all of our viewers and listeners just went away. It is, of course, my good friend indeed, the man behind Humanican Media, the Happy Hoarder, and so much more. It is, of course, Josh the Great Pederson. What's up, man?
What is up? It's been a long Christmas, it seems like to me. Yeah, 5 kids, man. 5 kids, just complete chaos. But we're here. We survived. How you doing?
Tired, but I am surviving as well. We celebrated a special day yesterday with my wife and my kids, and went to Hot Pot. And by the end of the evening, or actually throughout most of the morning, it was Hot Pot 4, Gerald Glassford 0. So I'm finally feeling myself again after several hours because I wasn't feeling so hot. But great to be here, my friend. I wanted to ask before I get into a correction I wanted to make from the pro wrestling show. Have you been getting some different selfies or different, I guess, shorts as of late in your feed? Because mine, all that's been feeding to me are the I guess, for lack of a better term, Karens who are arguing with a cat at the registers. I know that you people know that are out there know what I'm talking about because that's all that's in the AI cats that are getting mad at a customer yelling in their faces, like whether they're running a McDonald's, the cat is, or they're managing another fast food store or managing a checkout cashier line. Yes, they go into a battle tit for tat, and then it ends up with them hissing and trying to smack away whoever it is that's yelling at them in their face. So just want to let you know, I've seen like a ton of those flipping through my feed, and I just thought that's kind of where we're at in 2025, my friend.
No content is real anymore. Everything is done with AI. You can't trust anything you see, especially on social media, because they're all just the same videos made. Anytime someone sees something trending, they're like, oh, let me put this into my AI machine and see what it makes for us.
Absolutely. And not only that, the other thing, I don't know if this how much this bothers you, because AI, Hollywood and AI, they've talked at length about it with the Tilly Norwood situation this year.
Mhm.
But the other main videos I'm seeing in my feed is the one dude doing the selfie thing with his favorite movie sets, as far as from his favorite movies. So he'll be like, get out of the car, he'll walk up and do a selfie, and there's the Lord of the Ring cast right behind him. And then he'll just move over to the left a little bit, and then he is in, let's say, The Matrix with Keanu Reeves. And then he'll go over there somewhere else, and he'll go to like whatever movie with whether live or dead actress, it doesn't matter because it's all AI anyways. But and they'll be doing that for like a minute. He'll go from picture to picture, Back to the Future or Titanic or whatever, just whatever movie you name it, and they're right doing it. And I see these videos now on my feed all the time. It's just like, this is where we're at with AI. Really, cat videos arguing at the checkout counter and Hollywood selfies. That's where we're at with AI.
Yeah, you know what I've seen a lot of are the like the oh my house is haunted, and like, look, I'm just gonna stand here and perfectly frame this shot so that you can see this ghost in the doorway, and I'm not going to run or do anything. I'm just going to set it up. Don't worry about it. The camera's not moving, obviously not on a tripod. A lot of those coming across my feed lately, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so real," but it's not. It's
So
not.
think
Nothing you
that.
see is real.
I want you to think of that, Josh. I want you to think of that. That's where your money for RAM is going. So when you try to buy RAM to upgrade your computer or buy something that has newly installed RAM, like the Steam machine or anything like that, just
Yeah,
know where that's going to. That price of RAM is going up because a lot of it's being bought in order to support all this AI. Just to let you know where it's going.
it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. No. Make it stop.
I don't know if it will, what you'd let that genie out of the bottle. And there you go. And of course, that's on AI too. We could be AI. I don't know. I don't know. But it is, of course, the Pop Culture Cosmos. Truly appreciate you supporting us by liking and subscribing. If you're out there listening to us on one of the great radio stations that have been supporting us all these years, we cannot thank you enough for doing so. Wanted to go ahead and mention today's show has Josh Pederson's best and worst pop culture in 2025. So he will give you his best and worst in pop culture for 2025. Plus, we'll talk about the video game industry kind of in a shaky position, as I will explain, and I will hear Josh's thoughts on that as well. But first off, my friend, we will discuss in detail the Christmas Day box office because you and I spoke yesterday about Avatar Fire and Ash. And if this were any other movie, I think we would be talking about how big of a hit it is, right? But after a weekend that saw the Avatar Fire and Ash about $64 million and about 88 million over the Christmas Day 4-day period, it is now sitting worldwide because I want to go off that number. Now we are dealing with Box Office Mojo, and you know how much they love changing all the numbers as opposed to what we've
Mhm.
been seeing with our good friends with the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. By the way, it's back up to 714 million
Nice.
on
Yeah,
DVD.
no, I was just looking at it.
Yeah,
Make up
so
your mind.
exactly. So I got to give people updates on that. So it went back up to 714 miraculously. But Avatar Fire and Ash is at $760 million worldwide. It will probably by the end of next weekend, Josh, hit $1 billion. So I ask you, we've had some time to look at it. It is not doing what Avatar, the previous Avatar did, or even the previous Avatar did before that, but it is showing to have some legs. It didn't have a great fall at the box office. So, is this a failure or a letdown for Disney with Avatar Fire and Ash?
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, let's look at this, right? We're looking at how when did this movie come out? It came out on it was the 18th,
I believe so. Yes, at 19th. Well,
19th.
18th.
Okay, so
You know what? Actually, 18th. If you talk about previews and whatnot. So yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
I mean, we're still looking at 10 days in the theaters having reached $760 million. I mean, I don't think that's terrible. It's not. We're also.
I mean,
Oh,
it's any other movie we'd be talking about what a big hit that is.
yeah, right. But I mean, it in all likelihood, it is going to cross $1 billion. Is it going to do it before, in the next 3 days? Like, who knows, right? Because that's gonna will it
I'd
be
probably
the
say by the end of next weekend would be.
yeah. I mean, whatever it takes, it will get there, and it's still going to be $1 billion film. So I wouldn't say it's moving a lot slower, and I think that's a good metric to use when trying to figure out like, hey, are people still into this franchise? But also, it's still making a lot of money, so it's not. I wouldn't exactly say it's a failure. I would look at it more and say, like, I think people might be getting burnt out on this franchise that is clearly not going anywhere. It's the same because if you look at them like from the core of the movie, like it's the same story in every film, right? You have humans invade part of forest or whatever. there's a battle, there's a scene where you get to see all the pretty stuff, and then there's a fight between the humans and the Navi, and then the Navi win. That's kind of the story over and over. There's all three movies have had the same exact story. So where are they going with this? Like, James Cameron's toting like the Avatar 4 and 5 to finish the story, but where are they going? And I think that we talk about superhero fatigue. I think we have Avatar fatigue is more of a real thing that a Disney should worry about right now.
I will say this again. I think that this movie is not a failure. It is probably projected to, by any reasonable amount, considering what the box office is now, probably was not going to reach those expectations that some had about trying to meet from the last Avatar movie.
Yeah.
But I think in the end of the day, it should probably reach 1.5 billion, like what we were talking about before this movie came out. About 1.5 billion, which again should be a profit, even for the large expense that the Avatar movies are. It should be a tidy little profit for Disney at the end of said day, whatever that day is. I think that the future of the Avatar franchise is in question because I don't know how much James Cameron wants to continue doing this.
Mhm.
B, how much longer does Disney want to continue doing this? Although they don't have many billion-dollar properties, even though they did make $6 billion plus this year at the box office, they don't have many surefire billion-dollar properties right now with the tenuous situation going on with Marvel. So I'm going to say that, James Cameron's comments about, he has already got the story, the plot, the outline for the fourth and fifth, and he doesn't have to be totally invested or directly involved. If that's the case, if they want to continue to pursue it, get other directors in there. They'll probably film 4 and 5 back to back would be my guess, and then you go from there. James Cameron would be involved with the writing process and developing and probably a producer's role, but he wants to do other things. He's mentioned going back into the Terminator IP and doing other things as well. Although he did mention that it would be out of the realm of possibility for him to go back into full force 4 and 5 as well. I think that there is still a future for Avatar, even though again, as Rob McCallum, our friend, put it, there's no cultural footprint for it. But it's still obviously $1 billion property. And in the end of the day, money talks. And again, with the uncertainty of the Marvel future, how many Zootopias are they going to put out there that could give you those kind of exchange dollars that will actually be able to go ahead and get that kind of money as surefire money that an Avatar movie can? I mean, Zootopia now is a $1 billion franchise. Some of the Pixar films are, a lot of the Pixar films are not. Marvel, we don't know what its future is after Secret Wars. So yeah, with the uncertainty out there, I'm assuming we'll see more Avatar in our future, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I don't think the movie's a failure. I don't think the franchise is failing. I think that they just need to keep an eye on interest in it. As we can see, the climb is a lot slower than the other two were. So I think that might be a gauge of like, hey, maybe we need to change something up with this, or take a break from it for a while, whatever. But I mean, yeah, it's a good metric to see that, like, hey, this is not making the money as fast as it would. But also, like, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day are still pretty big movie days. So I mean, it's possible we'll see that jump into $1 billion, by the time January 1st rolls around. So who knows, man? But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely doesn't have the momentum that the other two did, and that might be something that Disney wants to keep an eye on.
Well, again, let's go back to one of our favorite series, the Lord of the Rings films. I mean, they were all right around $1 billion, except for maybe the first one. But the Hobbit films, people are like, oh, well, the Hobbit films are a failure. Really? When you look at them, they all made above $800 million worldwide at the box office. So they still showed that they had some legs. So then, for Warner Brothers, it turned out to be a successful enough venture for them. For Disney, I think this has been a successful venture this time around with Fire and Ice. I know that a lot of people are tired of the series. and I get it. I understand it. Um, but yeah, I still think there's more left in it, and financially, at least worldwide, on a worldwide basis, that's going to be the case. What's up, Byron? How you doing? Great to have you here. Good morning. I just wanted to wish Byron a good morning.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I thought you were sitting there like waiting. Are you waiting for a response or?
No. Just I was just wishing him good morning because he left a comment on there. But again, I just think that there is a future for uh, I guess Avatar, you could say, because of the fact that the money worldwide it's still generating is going to probably predict that's the case. Even if the money here in the States is not quite as prevalent as it once was, as we can see that they are still heavily reliant on what the movie and the film does worldwide.
Well, it hasn't. Oh, it did open in China. Okay, for some reason I was like expecting the no, because we've been doing the American movies have been doing like a bang up job in the Chinese box office. So, 57 million is good, I guess. But I was expecting it to be a little bit more, but maybe.
Well, they went away. They were taken off of the Chinese market, Hollywood films for quite a spell, and then recently, within the past year, have been brought back and have had middling success. But I think of course, when it comes to Demon Slayer, that first week where it did huge numbers in China really started to kick things off and interest for films in China. And Zootopia 2
I
has
know.
really done well in China.
9 million, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, because they've got also I think they have a park or a theme area inside the Disneyland in China
Mm.
that's dedicated to Zootopia. It's just that they have a great love for Zootopia and it shows. But again, it is of course the pop culture cosmos. Truly appreciate you joining us. It's Josh Peterson along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching. Listen, we're talking the box office here before we get into a couple more subjects after that, and Josh Peterson's best and worst of pop culture for 2025. Wanted to mention Zootopia 2 because that has, Josh, some really great legs. It was second in the domestic box office, and a lot of people are still talking about Zootopia 2 as it gains even more. It's reaching about, it looks like it's going to go well past $1.5 billion itself. It's not out of the realm of possibility that could reach $2 billion on its own, which be again of the Disney movies on the slate between Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Zootopia 2. The one on my bingo card talking about $2 billion would probably not have been Zootopia 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was unexpected. I was expecting that to hit maybe 700, 800 million, but having it cross $1 billion is not something I even in my wildest dreams, even imagine. Like Lilo and Stitch was another one. Like the two $1 billion Disney movies, I would never have even assumed would crawl as high as they did into the box office.
And we saw this past weekend that more people were going to the theaters, and that's why so many films are released around this time, Josh, because as we see at the box office, the top 10 domestically here in the United States, when the biggest drop off is in the low 40s, that tells you a lot of people are still going to the box office. In fact, a lot of people plan to go to the box office around this time of the year. So one of the movies that was released this time of the year and got into wide release on Christmas Day after some really great previews, some of the highest preview numbers of this decade was Marty Supreme with Timothée Chalamet and his hair, although he didn't have much left because I guess he's got a roll up coming where he shaves it all off. But he was PR for the movie, my friend, standing on top, the first person to step on top of the Sphere here in Las Vegas to promote it. It's funny because my wife and I were at the store and I looked in the background and the Sphere's in the background. And it's like, huh, looking like a ping pong ball. Oh, it's from Marty Supreme. We didn't know. Little did I know when they were doing that, he was standing on top of it. So all that hype and the different PR modes, because he went on a different PR route than most films do, which I've talked about and criticized when they were doing this PR car wash. It just really doesn't seem to work out for a lot of movies. But the way they approached it was different for Marty Supreme. A24 is one of their most expensive movies, but it seems to be, at least now, one of their biggest payoffs, and they're one of their biggest starts for a movie that will probably be considered very highly at Oscar time, my friend.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let me. What is Marty Supreme? I'm trying to.
It's well, he's a ping pong. It's
Oh,
a period
that's
movie, but he's
right.
a major ping pong star, traveling around the world, and his crazy adventures therein. As far as that's what it's led itself into, as far as Marty Supreme is concerned. So
Let me ask you a question. All right, so there's a lot of movies that are in that release in theaters, and they end up on VOD services like 2 weeks later, right? You have like Five Nights at Freddy's. There was that one Caught Stealing, right? With
oh, that's already on Netflix to tell you
Austin
how
Butler.
bad that bombed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But here's my question though, and there's quite a few others I can't name off the top of my head. But do
Well,
you
as soon
think
as
that's
they start to go, now realize as soon as they start to drop theaters is when they start to go to a digital format for a full premium pricing.
right? Right. But do you think that these companies aren't giving these studios aren't giving their movies enough time to flourish in theaters? Because I mean, 2 weeks is hardly enough time. Like I would say, for 3 to 4 weeks is more, is a better option. But do you think that they're not giving these movies enough time to kind of get their footing?
It's a tit for tat, and I'll go real quickly on this because I know we want to spend a lot of time on the other subjects as well. But I will say this: when it comes to that, I don't think a lot of people are buying it on premium pricing, because most of those times that it's like $25 before it hits a streaming service. Like if
Yeah.
you wanted to buy Five Nights at Freddy right now, you would Freddy 2, you would have to go $25 to buy it, and I don't think a lot of people are clamoring for that. So I don't know how much of a market it is for that, but we've conditioned the consumer now, Josh, because of the advent of streaming. You talked about this years ago when you stressed on it, and you had that one point in time where you called it before everybody seeing. We've conditioned the viewer to go ahead and just expect and wait for it on streaming if they don't catch it in theaters in the first couple weeks.
All right.
Very few films have legs. I mean, we saw it with Weapons. We're seeing it now with Avatar, where these films have legs, but more films on the cut line, more films that are in the gray area as far as their success in theaters for long term. Those films are being hurt by the advent of streaming. Those films will most likely have a short run because of the advent of people thinking about waiting for it to streaming. These premium VODs, I don't think that's a huge market, because again, the pricing on it on most of these films, if you saw, are like 25, $30. So they're not a desirable to a lot of people on that. But the fact that they transitioned so quickly, like I said, Caught Stealing, a movie that came out in August, is already available on Netflix. That will tell you right there all you need to know about those films that didn't meet a financial need or financial budget that was satisfactory to the studio. Those films may be the ones most impacted by the move to streaming. In fact, a lot of these films, Josh, that we saw this year perform at the box office, you probably should have gone straight to streaming in the first place. It would have found more success.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate though, because I've said this before. Like there was a time when you could go to the movie theaters on any given day and find a wide variety of movies to watch. But now, like we've been talking about, people are like, oh, I'd rather wait and watch it from the comfort of my couch. And the movie studios are like, okay, well, let's deliver that expectation.
Again, I don't know how many people are buying these movies on VOD for $20 to $25. I don't think there's a great market for it. So I don't think that part impacts it too much. It's the fact that it comes onto an HBO Max in less than or in 2 months, or Netflix in 3 months or whatnot. That is concerning about how fast that turnaround to streaming services and making it available as part of the service. That part is what I think gets a lot of people on that. And I will tell you right now, though, maybe Anaconda should have been a film that could have appeared on Netflix and done big numbers for Sony there. Instead, they decided to go ahead and release it, and it finished fifth in the running at just under $15 million for the domestic weekend. I don't know what the budget was on that film. I don't know if it's going to see that budget, but obviously, it's not going to turn out to be that great of a return for it. It's not a bomb, but it's just barely meeting expectations. The Housemaid looked that finished number 4. That one looks like it was justified being sent out to the theaters because that movie probably will earn about $75 million domestically and over $100 million worldwide. So I think that's probably a good return for that type of movie. But you're right, Josh. A lot of these films probably are hampered by the fact that, okay, I'm just going to be checking it out in a couple weeks or in a couple months on a streaming service near me.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The Anaconda movie was like absolutely foolish to put that out in theaters. Like why would you do that? Like that's
Oh, it's the perfect Christmas movie, don't you think?
no, I mean people don't remember it. There's been zero marketing for this movie outside of a couple trailers, and two, like the original was not good. So why would you think that like, oh hey, let me put this out in theaters and see how it does. That was dumb. Just put it out on a streaming service and people will watch it because it's not an Anaconda, especially this remake is not going to be a movie that a lot of people are going to pay to go see. But I'm excited to watch it when I can watch it from home. I'm part of the problem though.
There you go. There you go. You're part of the problem indeed. But blame yourself. There you go. No, I'll just say this again. I think 2026, and I talked about this with TJ. We're going to do after we're done with our best ofs. We're going to be touching on what we're excited most for 2026. I think 2026 is going to line up to be a much better year movie wise for people going to the movies as opposed to staying in and waiting for it to streaming than what we saw in 2025. I just think there's so many more must see films that we're going to have to go ahead and check out. But we will wait and see. Josh and myself and TJ will hopefully be able to provide you our lists of what we're most anticipating for 2026. So we'll be able to share that with you upcoming here in the next few weeks. Plus, also, of course, I got the Consumer Electronics Show as well coming up here in the not too distant future. So I got that on the way, plus the best of pop culture, all that good stuff that we bring to you right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But before I get to one news item, I wanted to make a correction on the pro wrestling episode that we did, John Orlando and myself. I wanted to mention that to clarify, my worst match of last year was John Cena versus CM Punk. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I did it again. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41. I wanted to mention that. Yeah, that's specifically was the worst match I saw this year, and I'll leave it at that. But again, before we hit the break, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and mention it is the December Christmas box office. Please go ahead and let us know your thoughts. Are you still thinking Avatar Fire and Ash is a hit? I think it's still a pretty good hit. I mean, it's going to probably reach $1.5 billion, especially with Zootopia nearing $1.5 billion, $2 billion in itself. I think it's a good winter for Disney. And also, Marty Supreme, how well do you think it's going to do? Please let us know your thoughts on all these great films that you might have seen or didn't see at the box office this Christmas Day period. Please go ahead and let us know your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, before your best and worst in pop culture, it is, of course, Josh the Great Pederson, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Josh, there's been reports that when Circana puts out its, well, actually, Circana already did put out its news on what the video game industry was like domestically. And video game console sales reportedly were the worst it's been in 30 years. That's right. 30 whole years. The video game console industry, as far as video game console sales are concerned, not dollars, not revenue, because the higher prices, obviously, it's going to be different on that. But your thoughts, my friend, when it comes to what you're seeing in the video game industry. But I think the higher prices have something to do with it when you have the video game consoles at an all-time low, or 30-year low as far as the volume of sales are concerned.
It is, yeah, it's deeply, deeply unsettling. Let me backtrack on something. Like I am not, I'm not completely against paying $70 for a video game. Or I know we complained about that for a while. I'm not, if the quality is good and the game is well put to, you can see that the game is well put together, the money is being put to good use. I'm not totally against spending $70 on a video game.
But the consoles,
The consoles themselves and the services, I think, are what really, really kills me here, because $500 was a big jump, right, from the 360 and the the PS4. Like the $500 was a big jump for that, and then we're hit with these other jumps. The PlayStation, right? Just the base one's like $600 now. The Xbox Series X, I think, if you want the Series X, it's about $750 now. Is that where we're at?
well, I think the base model is still around 550. I think 500, 550 for that. I think it's Christmas Day pricing aside, or holiday pricing aside. I think the regular price now for a PlayStation 5 and Xbox base model Xbox Series X, I think, is right around 500, 550. And then it goes to the high end models for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X that gets into the 650, 750 range, which
Yeah, I'm looking
not
at
worth it to me.
there's a Series X 1 terabyte console at Best Buy for $650. So I mean,
Bargain.
it's gaming is expensive, and we're already like, look at, I don't know, I could tell, right, by going out and doing the happy hoarder stuff, people are spending less money on just things for fun these days, like the collectibles, whatever, trading cards. Trading cards are different. Pokemon is still, there's a huge market for that still, but like, people are not spending money leisurely like they used to. So when you're raising the prices of the Xbox, people don't need Xbox, so people can go to Steam, right, and play a lot of the same games, or they can just load it up on their PC. So I think we're getting to a point where we are pricing a lot of people out of the video game market. And then you look at the thing that has really gotten me this year, though, is the Game Pass. Game Pass has been absolutely insane to me. Like the raise, $32 a month for Game Pass, and that's the reason this could, kind of lead into the declining console sales, is the fact that a lot of people have Xbox based strictly on the fact that they have Game Pass. And now that Game Pass is so much money, are people going to keep buying Xboxes, or are they going to just find another way to play the games that they want to play without having to pay a premium for it? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. The bump up prices, whatever you want to relate it to, inflation, tariffs, whatever you want to say. Again, that's your choice in discussing that, but the price changes cannot be ignored. That happened this year. Two price changes for Xbox, a big price change for PlayStation, and the entry point for Nintendo Switch 2 don't make anything easier. And you saw that reflective in the domestic sales that were reported by Circana on video game console sales being at a 30-year low.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what I mean, there's rumor floating around that there's going to be another price increase. So at what point are we going to reach? When are we going to reach a point where like people are like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to spend. If an Xbox costs $800, why don't I just buy an $800 gaming PC?
I'm just going to tell you this right now because I have the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. I have an Xbox Series S complete in box. I no longer use it. I'm going to trade it in. If I traded in my Xbox Series S or my Xbox Series X, especially my Xbox Series X, I believe I will trade it in and make a profit on it at this point. That's
I'm
scary.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you will. And well, so here's what I was talking to my wife about this. Like I'm sure the Steam box will be a little bit pricey, but I think that when the Steam box comes out, we will probably just stop using Xbox products completely outside of, you know, the Halo or whatever, because Halo's free to play, right? And I'd rather we do Forza in our esports program, so I'd rather just pay for what 4 or 5 copies of Forza Horizon. So why do I need to keep paying $32 a month per license for the Xbox Game Pass for or actually for any of the Xbox services?
Are you sure it's going to be cheaper than the Xbox? Because you got to remember those cat videos driving the price up to that RAM.
Oh, right. No, but I mean, I'd rather for longevity's sake, I'd rather say the Steam box is $750. Right. I'd rather just buy a bunch of Steam boxes that I don't have to worry about the price hikes, and I can have access to Game Pass, Steam, and you know, a lot of the PlayStation stuff on via Steam box. So it doesn't make sense to have an Xbox anymore, or to pay for, you know, to buy a couple brand new PlayStations, because a lot of the stuff that I want to use for esports are going to be available via the Steam box. So I mean, I don't mind leaving the Xbox ecosystem at this point. PlayStation, I'm still unsure of at this point.
Oh, that says something. When you and I were firmly entrenched in Xbox Island this time last year, and look where it is now.
Yep, yes, sir.
What are your thoughts up there on the video game console sales out there, which have reached, according to Circana, here domestically in the US, a 30-year low on these sales, not revenue, sales for video game consoles? Please let us know your thoughts relating to maybe the fall of Call of Duty, relating to just the price changes involved, relating to maybe not as many gotta get games as there was in the past. Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we head on out, my friend, obviously wanted to make sure you had some time to go ahead, and I'd have a drum roll here for you. But I guess in lieu of that, it is that time of the year when we go ahead and start off with our best and worst of pop culture for 2025. Your thoughts, my friend. I will leave it to you with your list of the best in pop culture or worst in pop culture for 2025. However, you want to go ahead and relate that to the people out there.
Okay, all right. So here, you know, it's funny. Like I'm sitting here making this list, and there's not
Checking it twice.
checking it twice. Yeah, there's not as many things this year as there have been in years past, where I was like, oh man, that was a crap movie or a crap show or whatever, you know. So I have my list, and it's going to be a little uneven on each side. I try to do like my top 3, worst 3 for these different categories, right? So I got movies, shows, video games, and then I got a couple of special shout outs for music, because I did find some. Apparently, when Apple came out with their like little year at a glance thing, I had listened to one album almost 300 hours. So I'm going to give a shout out to that one. All right. So here we go, man. Movies. My best movie of the year. All right. This movie I thought was just fantastic. And a lot of people might look at this one and be like, oh, that wasn't that good. But it was just, the concept and execution were just so well done for this movie.
F1.
You wish, man. No, we'll talk about that in a minute. I got The Gorge, man, with Miles Teller and what's her name? The blonde.
Was it Seafield or Seafield?
No, shoot, I forget.
I'll look it up right now.
It is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. That's right. She hasn't done anything since then, or a little while.
Yeah.
So.
This movie was such, for an Apple Plus movie, I was expecting it to be like a cheese fest, you know, but it was really good, man. Like, I sat there and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed watching this movie. And it, you know, it had Sigourney Weaver was in it. You know, she plays a good villain. I don't know what else she's been a villain. Oh,
she's in Avatar.
Yeah, she wasn't a villain in that one though, but
No.
she plays a really good villain, and like I said, pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. Then I will say this was what got me, like, my return to Marvel was the Thunderbolts. And I know that this was not, you can't look at it and be like, oh, that was a box office success, but I enjoyed it, man. Like, I thought that it was probably the best Marvel movie of this year. What are your thoughts? So where would you rank it amongst the ones that have come out this year?
I will not say if it's whether it's not on my list or is on my list, but there were two Marvel movies on my best of, and one that might go on my worst of, and I will lean Thunderbolts in the better of. Let's see, put that consideration.
Okay.
So
Am I going to hear your list on this episode? Are we going to do
no,
this?
no, I will save that for another episode. My list is long, so yes,
Okay.
saving that for next week, my friend. So
Okay. That sounds good, man. I'll be looking forward to it. All right.
yes,
And
I'll just say that the Thunderbolts is not going to be on my worst of list. I'll leave it
okay.
at that.
All right, that sounds fair. All right, here's my underdog, all right? Predator Badlands. And yes, probably never in the history of the pop culture cosmos have either of us ever put a Predator on our best of list. But this was definitely a reinvention of that franchise. Like, it was, I wouldn't sit there and say like, oh, this was a great movie, but it was the first time that I'd seen a Predator movie actually have like care put into the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, you might see another Predator project from me that might be involved in my list too.
All right. All right. Hey, we're getting onto the same page more or less. All right. You ready for my worst of movies?
Here we go. Here we go. All right.
Okay. At the top of this list, I have Jurassic Park Rebirth. That was an absolutely atrocious dinosaur movie. Like, I watch it and like, it's, oh, dinosaurs, right? But we've seen dinosaurs enough times to like know that you can't just have dinosaurs anymore. You have to have an actual decent story to go alongside it. And Jurassic Park Rebirth was like, I've never hated a Jurassic Park movie, but like, this made me want to not watch any more Jurassic Park movies.
You are the guy that's reviewed and thought of. In fact, you've seen all the Jurassic Park movies. I have not, because I've not been as enamored by it as you have. So what really got you away from it? Because I've seen some of these reactions to some of these films. It's usually feast or famine when it comes critically to the Jurassic Park movies. What made this one so inferior to maybe other like it in the series?
Well, it's everything that, the I guess so in the movie, it's in the original Jurassic Park, right? You had it was the Lost World, right? Ian Malcolm is talking to these people and he's talking about how it's like ooh and ah at first, and then there's running and screaming, right? That's like kind of a famous line by him. In this new movie, it's the same thing to audiences, right? Like, we've seen the dinosaurs, and the movie is very aware of that fact because they talk about it. They say that people gotten tired of just seeing dinosaurs. So you see the dinosaurs, and it just, from that point forward, it just becomes like a typical B-rate action film. Okay. And there's no magic left in the series. There's no just like that feeling you got from watching Jurassic Park 1.
Still plenty of dollars though.
I know, and even like Jurassic Park World still managed to like get that imagination going, but this movie was it was an action film, and it was trying to play on old scripts, and it did not work for me.
But tell me, how many other Universal properties do they have that is going to generate close to $900 million for them?
Yeah, absolutely none. So it's anyways, all right. Next one, I got Karate Kid Legends. Not really a lot to talk about on that one. We have F1 the movie is my third one. I was really, really looking forward to watching this movie, and I found myself several times just sitting there watching this movie, hearing this dialogue, and being, man, this is not good. Like, what who sat there? What what racing fan is going to sit there and watch this movie and be like, yeah, this is a good movie? Like it's not even about racing, it's about cheating. None of the movie is so deceptive at like every turn. It's beautiful to watch, but it's just a really terribly written film.
That plot is so unrealistic. I The Iron Claw last year was considered a pretty good movie by a lot of people out there, and I again said that if you're basing it off of what happened in real life, I would tear the movie to shreds. But if you liked it as a film, and you looked at it from that aspect, you would just enjoy it. If you looked at the F1 from an aspect of sound design and video cinematography, brilliant, beautiful, absolutely fantastic, Josh. If you looked at it from a storytelling standpoint and could this really or would this really happen in real life? It is trash, utter trash. And I just can't believe that such a beautiful looking and sounding film, and it's got a great score, by the way. It's actually on the short list for the Oscars as far as the music arrangements, and they just did that with it. But again, what do we know? It's made over $600 million at the box office. It's Apple's biggest movie ever, and again, it's something that they feasted off the success of Formula One. Put whatever hackneyed story in there, and you got what you got.
Yeah, it's a real shame though, because there've been in the past 10 years there have been a few different racing movies that have come out that have not done well in the box office, but have actually been like really great movies. Like Ford versus Ferrari was fantastic. I still think that the Gran Turismo movie was pretty good, but like this was just I don't even it was just disappointing to me.
What else you got, my friend?
All right, last one for worse. I got Frankenstein on there. Everyone's kind of heard my thoughts on that one, so I don't need to elaborate on that. But again,
What?
like it's a beautiful film. If
Yes.
if I were not a fan of the book, I probably would have been like, "Oh, this movie's fantastic." But as a fan of the book, it has made my worst list.
You are a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro. We've talked about this at length. Your love for his films, especially Hellboy, it goes back a long way. So I know it must have hurt you to feel like you did for Frankenstein, which a lot of people, a lot of critics have and do have on their top 20 list. I will not have it on my top 20 list. I did not hate it as much as you did. I thought it was when it came down. Like you said, very colorful. The color palettes that you always talk about,
Mhm.
absolutely brilliant use of that set design, production, whether you could know what you knew which one you knew which setups were like an inside studio and things of like that, as far as or like a green screen you could tell, but still they were very well made and elaborate set designs, production designs, clothing designs. I just again this movie just didn't connect with me, but it seemingly hit you in a worse place.
Yeah, I was hoping for, like I've said before, I was really hopeful for a faithful adaptation that I could actually use in class, but this is not. This is like it's not. I wouldn't even say it's an adaptation of Frankenstein. It just borrows the name and a few of the like character motivations. It's hardly recognizable to me as an adaptation of the book.
What else you got, my friend?
All right, shows I'll run through here. I got Clarkson's Farm season 4 was my favorite. Daredevil, Born Again, and Devil May Cry were my 3 best shows of this year. And you take that as a grain of salt, because I haven't really watched many shows. Like I did watch Stranger Things, and it was not bad, but it was not like great either. And I'm sure we'll talk about that after the season 5 as a whole, after the final piece releases. But definitely not in my top 3 for this year. For my worst, I have Invasion season 3 on Apple. That show. I think I might have asked you this, but have you watched the show at all?
I have not watched the show at all. I of the Apple TV shows that are on my list. That was on my list, but I think I've watched one episode, and then that's just it didn't hook me. So I was trying to get back into it, but it sounds like I don't need to.
Yeah. So season 1 was great. Like they set up for like this amazing premise for a sci-fi show, right? This whole season dedicated to the invasion actually happening. And then season 2, the invasion happened and what happens in the aftermath. Season 3 is more of like the story has its head stuck so far up its backside that it doesn't know like what it wants to do, what it wants to be. Like it completely lost its identity in this season. And I was so disappointed, and I'm sitting here, I doubt at this point that we'll see I know they wanted to tell the story in like 4 seasons, but I'm highly doubt we're going to see another season of this show.
What you got next, my friend?
All right, let's go through video games here. I have Clara best of. So I got 6 great video games. I got Expedition 33 was really good. Of course, it won all those awards. South of Midnight actually was one of my favorite games this year, and that one doesn't like it came out in the midst of a lot of other game releases, so not many people were talking about it, but like I thought that South of Midnight was great. I thought the soundtrack was great, the story was great, just the setting was really good too. Did you ever get a chance to play that one?
I only a little bit. While I had Game Pass. So
Mhm.
yes, I did get a chance to play it. A very unique setting,
Yeah.
and good storytelling because I've seen more of the cutscenes for it, and I was intrigued because of its setting,
Yeah.
and because I thought it was actually trying to communicate a different story which I don't know continued to resonate with players. I don't know how well it did overall, but again, I wish that game a lot of success, and I hope it original ideas like that are rewarded instead of just buried.
Yeah. Well, it did a good job of like highlighting a culture, I guess, like the what do you call it, like Bayou culture, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
like that kind of mythology that you don't hear a lot about in like stories and things like that. So I think um I don't know, it felt fresh in that sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got, my friend?
Okay, I got Donkey Kong Bonanza. I thought it was really great. It felt like that, when you make the jump from, or you made the jump from, the 2D Marios into Mario 64. Like that's
Yeah.
what Donkey Kong Bonanza felt like to me, and I think that was like it filled that void that has been left by Mario Odyssey. Been waiting to play like another sort of open world, but not open world style Nintendo game. So it definitely scratched that itch for me. I got Death Stranding 2 on here. I know I've been on and off that franchise, but I did enjoy my time with Death Stranding 2. The all the little like road building and
Was it more than a walking simulator this time around?
yeah, I thought that it was more than a walking simulator. You were still like you had the option of delivering things, but it had more of like an easier to follow narrative, and you could go you were meant to go places. You're not just delivering things, but also like, delivering things. It was when I wanted something mindless, like it was not not fun, I guess. But yeah, it had more substance than the first one for sure. I have Mario Kart World was fun. Then like I think we need to give some credit to the shadow release of Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster.
Hmm.
Like
Got
that
that.
was yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that was good.
it was good, and it came out of nowhere. The game looks beautiful. We had that whole debate over, remake or remaster. I think the game looks like it's been rebuilt, but that's just me. Um, it was a absolutely welcome return to that world, and I still getting all the feels that I had from playing the first one. I haven't even finished it. I'm about, I think, like 6 hours in. I need to go back and uh put my toes back in the waters of Tamriel again. But that was I don't know, that was kind of highlight of the year for me, was playing that Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster. I will say, and I didn't write this on my list, but probably one of the worst games of the year for me was Doom Eternal.
Ooh.
I know this is controversial. There's a hot take, man, but I really tried to get into that game, and it got to a point where like it stopped being I don't want to say it stopped being easy, but it became more of there were parts in that game that became more of a nuisance to me to sit there and try to fight through as opposed to just not playing it anymore. So I fell off of that one pretty quick because it just got so repetitive for me too. And maybe I'll go back and play it again, but like that's the only game this year I think that I started and just put down because I didn't want to play anymore.
Well, there you go. Anything else to add on as a final
Oh,
touch on your list?
yeah, so I just got I got music, 3 albums that I love this year. I got Dance
Mhm.
Gavin Dance's Pantheon, which apparently I listened to for over 300 hours. Deftones, Private Music, and Def Havana's We're Never Getting Out. So if you're looking for some good music, definitely check those ones out. But that's my list, man. That's all I got for you this year.
If you have your list of the best and worst in pop culture for 2025, we'd love to hear it. Please send it to us, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, or put it below in the comments on either Humanican Media or Pop Culture Cosmos as well. Josh, that's a great list, my friend. And you'll see some of that, I think. I have a feeling you'll see some of that on either TJ's list upcoming soon or myself as well. We'll have to wait and see, my friend. But they'll be coming up in future episodes. But before we head on out, just wanted to let everybody know the latest Avengers Doomsday trailer this week will have the X-Men. Last week's was Thor, and everybody knows the first week was Steve Rogers. So we will be seeing how that parlays itself out for another week, because I guess there's 4 that we're going to have to talk about here. But interesting, they're already leaning into the X-Men. I guess the X-Men of old, I should say, as far as that's concerned. So people that the theaters will be seeing that this week. Good for them. But before we head on out, my friend, Stranger Things ends its historic run this week with one final mega episode. How has your ride been so far for Stranger Things before we head on out?
Okay. Let me just the Avengers Endgame trailer with James Marsden, the X-Men. He deserves a better finish, man, because that was like Brian Singer got super late. No, it was Brett Ratner, right?
Yes,
The
Ratner.
Brett Ratner got super lazy and he had no business even making that movie, but he did Cyclops the dirty so bad that he deserves to have his redemption in this movie. I think this should be the send off for him that he deserved in the first place. All right, Stranger Things. Like I said, not my favorite season. Okay, mixed feelings, man. All right, so the it's been fine. It's been fine. The season 5 has been fine so far. I miss the days when Stranger Things was simple. You know, you had your like ET vibes. The story was more less like epic, I guess the word. The more action. This season's more action oriented than any other season. Like there's definitely probably a massive budget for this season. So I miss like the simpler storylines and things like that. I will say that the Dustin Steve relationship has been like, it's just so sad, man. It's made me have you watched it?
Oh, yeah. I would actually go ahead and for the next 10 minutes draw something up on a whiteboard right now for you, because seemingly they do that on every episode to try to
Yeah.
plan out everything. And
Yeah, well that
everyone has an idea. That's right. Everyone has an idea that they have to implement. Just want to let you know that as well.
you know, it's funny because they're taking that opportunity to lore dump. Like that's what they're trying to explain all this stuff that they probably just came up with, you know, when they were writing this season. It probably wasn't like planned out from the beginning. They probably sat there and like, how do we finish this thing? I don't even know what to do. I will say the thing that is really irritating me is that girl from the second season. She was annoying in that season. She's been irritating even to think about through season 3 and 4, even though she wasn't in them. And she's back and she's like 10 times more irritating in this story. Like oh man, I just want her to go away. Like the perfect ending to the show would be like Elle, you know, running back through the portal or whatever and just pushing her off into oblivion, and then we'll never see or hear from her again because like, yeah, your story's tragic or whatever, but gosh, like you irritate me so much. I don't want to see you on the screen anymore.
Going down that wormhole in Stranger Things, but we will go ahead and share our thoughts on the series finale that's heading this week to Netflix. But before we head on out, just wanted to mention for James Marsden, again, you'll be seeing that video, or I guess the trailer later this week here for the film theaters. But wouldn't it be great if James Marsden was in those Paycom commercials as Cyclops? Hey, Jim, doing great today. Zzz. Hey, Marcia, how you doing? Doing great today. You're doing awesome. Giving you a raise. Zzz. Wouldn't that be great if she did something like that? I don't know. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for Josh the Great Pederson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. More cat videos. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.